Year 8 parents, welcome to the presentation for GCSE options September 2021. The purpose of this presentation is to explain the options process itself, tell you dates and times and what's needed to be done, and then hopefully give some guidance for the choices your child will make. I'm hoping to keep it short, but any questions I'll let you know during the presentation how to get in touch with us. Right then, let's start. You'll have seen hopefully the platform that's been shared with your child. Okay, now this platform has links on it to lots of information. There's links to different subjects and to teachers explaining their subjects. There's links to the exam boards on our school website. There's links to the programs of study for year 9s, 10s and 11. So there's lots of information on here. I've also shown on this slide in red there's a link to a questionnaire. Now that can be filled in by yourself or by your child. It comes to me and I'll send your question out to the member staff best suited to answer your question. So if it's a subject question, it goes to subject teacher. If it's about the student and the best choices for them, it may go to their form teacher. If it's about the process itself and what happens and so on, that probably comes to me, to be honest. Okay, so if you do have questions, please use that link, or your child is welcome to use that link. I'm expecting questions from most students. I probably won't answer questions during half term, but before and after I'll be on it. And then there's a link to the online options form, which is due 11th of March. Okay, so hopefully I'll give it enough time for each student and your children to read the resources, ask questions, make a decision, discuss it with people, and then complete the online applications form. Now your child will study English language and literature, that's a double GCSE. They'll study maths, science, RE, PSHE and do games lessons as well. Okay, that makes up our core curriculum, including one option in red here, which must be one of computer science, French, geography, German, history or triple science. Now those are promoted by the government, they're supported by exams officers, employees and so forth. They're considered to be robust academic subjects that give good perspectives, good learning and good outcomes for other subjects or other study or other employment in the future. Now they also give a good understanding of the world we live in. They give perspectives about trying to understand some of the issues we face in the world today, which is why they're promoted. But we ask students to study just one. Now they could, for example, study all four. They could study computer science, French, geography, German if they so choose, or they could choose just one of those and then choose 3 others from the full list. Now the full list is here. The key thing on this slide is to emphasize that we want all students to study a broad and balanced curriculum. The future is uncertain. This is not training for any particular job, it's training for all jobs or for life in general. We want our students and your children to be engaged participants in society, to understand the issues facing the world at the moment, to read the press or see stuff in the media, to know what's fake news and what's honest news, to understand the problems that are out there. Okay, so a broad and balanced curriculum gives them the best skills and best knowledge to do that. There's no hard and fast rules. Now it's unlikely if your child wants to do fine art and textiles, I support that. There's a lot of overlap between those two subjects, but it's likely they could study, for example, history and geography. However, if they then chose history, geography and sociology, there's quite a lot of difference in those subjects, but they're all humanities, and I might argue that actually, while they're all separate subjects, they're still humanities. That may not be the best broad and balanced curriculum that your child could choose. So there's no hard and fast rules. It's based on the combination of subjects, and if there are issues I will come back to you with questions or concerns, but I'll speak to you as well as your child. Now the deadline for forms is 11th of March, as I mentioned. We do ask students to choose 5 subjects. That gives us flexibility to make sure the majority of students can choose subjects to study that they want to do. And we'll allocate 4 of those 5 to your child. Any problems with that, I'll come back to you and come back to your child and discuss it and explain why. Now, just because you put something number 1 does not mean that that's automatically going to happen. For example, if 93 students chose history, for example, as their number one choice. Our maximum class size is 30. There'll be 3 students who couldn't join those classes. And my task then would be to look at the combinations of subjects and work out what combination means that most of those students can choose 4 of their 5. If there are too few students, so for example only 2 kids chose history, I can't run a class with 2. It won't happen. However, if 250 students run history, well, I haven't got enough history teachers. It may be that everybody can do that class. So my job in the next few weeks up to Easter and after Easter is to work out how I can build a timetable where the majority of students can get the majority of their subjects. Alright. Just one point before we move on. It's unlikely I can let students change their mind after the options deadline. Okay, many classes will be full. I can't kick out a kid to allow your child to move in, and I can't guarantee that will happen. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. Now I say that particularly so that students and your children can actually take the whole process seriously and know that whatever they choose is likely to be their choice. Now, here's the final bit. It's about helping your child make decisions. And I put here, think about the future but not too much. We know we're living in interesting times and the future is uncertain for all of us. GCSEs are not training for a job. If anything, they're training for all jobs, as I say. We want our students to be engaged participants in society, and the best way of going about that is build a wide foundation of knowledge and skills. We will tell students that knowledge is sticky. If they know a bit about something, they can add stuff to it and learn more quite easily. If they don't know anything about something, then it's really hard to start from scratch. So having a broad base means things are easier in the future. The only thing I would say to you is that it's important not to give up studying a language. Now the reason why I say that is because if they drop history, drop geography, drop DT, they could study that at A-level and probably at university as well. It may be hard at the start, but we would not stop a student studying history at A-level if they dropped it at GCSE. That's not strictly true for a language. It's really hard for students or for anybody to really learn a language if they then have this gap of GCSE. Now, looking at number of people taking up colloquial lessons, evening classes, apps on their phones to learn languages, and the number of people during lockdown who are trying to learn a language and they regret having dropped a language in the past, is something I would recommend students don't do. Languages give a different perspective on the world, and you only gain that from studying a language. So really, that's the one thing I would suggest that students kept on going into GCSE. Now then, this is interesting. You might have seen this before. It's quite an old slide now. It just emphasises the fact that there are no jobs for life. Career paths are messy. People have portfolio careers, and the wider skills and knowledge you've got, the more likely you are to be able to take advantage of whatever comes in the future. Okay, the interesting slide. The only slide on here really is about careers is this one, but it's just worth bearing in mind our perspective. Now, so finally, or almost finally, what are you going to do? How are you going to help your child make the decisions? Now, out of interest, it's worth just reflecting on what do they actually look forward to? What subjects do they want to do? And talk to you about it when they come home from school. Because all our research shows that students that really enjoy a subject do better than the ones they wouldn't, which is logical, I would guess. Now, so that might be one they choose. What are their skills and strengths? Now, if they know they're successful at something and they quite enjoy it, that maybe want to carry on. But also, the flip side, if they quite enjoy a subject but feel they're not particularly good at it, then doing the GCSE may be a way for them to develop those skills. And by working hard, they may come out really well. So it's worth considering. And also, most students have one or two they just don't want to do. They have one or two they really do want to do. Then the others in the middle, they're not that bothered about either which way. And it might be we look at those and think, okay, I've got these two I really want to do. I've got these two I really don't want to do. What in the middle gives me the best broad and balanced curriculum overall? Okay, and that may be a way to look forward to it. Now they could choose a GCSE from different options faculties. They choose the humanities, choose a language, choose one from ADT, the text and the art. They could choose one from EPA, the music, drama, and PE. That's a way they could manage it. They could choose a language, humanities, one creative, one applied. I think they should choose either history or geography. History does explain or give some background to how we are in the world today. It does give us that sort of like we are today because of what happened in our past. And geography gives a understanding of the geographical threats facing us, climate change, population growth, that type of stuff. So either history or geography would be recommended. I've said before they should choose a language, and speaking personally, choosing a creative subject I think is really valuable because it creates a different way of looking at the world. It's a different perspective on things, different way of solving problems or interpreting things, and they can be really valuable. And we're looking at broad and balanced, so having something creative in the student's curriculum I think is really worthwhile. Still though, the student's choice. Finally, please encourage your child to read through all the resources. Lots of information is there, probably too much for one sitting, so it is worthwhile going through them over a number of times. Please encourage them to ask questions. You also ask questions. The link is on the main page, as I mentioned earlier, and that takes you to a questionnaire, and that's absolutely fine how they do. And thank you for listening. Any questions, please come back to me. Use the form on the main platform, and good luck with the options process. Thank you.